It all begins with the sun. Shining over land and sea, the sun is the source of all life. Everything that moves on the land, swims through the seas, flies through the air, or grows in the ground. Since the world began, millions, billions, gazillions of plants and tiny sea creatures have lived in the oceans. Fed by the sun, these plants and creatures live, grow, die, and sink to the bottom of the sea. Through the age of dinosaurs and beyond, they formed layers of biomass miles deep. Squeezed beneath the Earth's crust under enormous heat and pressure, this biomass became what we now know as coal, oil, and natural gas. But all their energy comes from the power of the sun. Now, many years later, over these ancient seas, land formed. And this land came to be called Zona. The president of Zona paced the floor.
"What's wrong?" asked the second in command.
"The people are unhappy. They're tired of being hot when it's summer and cold in the winter. Why can't they just be happy with the way things are?"
Suddenly, a tall, skinny woman with enormous frizzy hair popped in the door. "I have the answer, Mr. President."
"And who might you be?" asked the president.
"I'm Dr. Solara, Cara Solara, your science advisor. Have you forgotten already? You appointed me. Open the window and look outside. The answer to our problems is staring us right in the face."
The president opened the window and looked out. "The mailman? Is he the answer?"
No, silly. It's the sun. The sun can keep us warm in the winter. We can collect its heat and...
Just then, there came a loud knock at the door, and a stubby little man walked in. His hands were tightly clenched. He didn't even open them to shake hands.
I am Mr. Dig from Fossil Incorporated. The sun? What a ridiculous idea. It goes away at night. You can't depend on the sun. You can't touch it. You can't hold it in your hands. Not like this. He turned his hands over and unclenched them to reveal two black lumps of coal. This is coal. Doesn't it feel solid? And there's a lot more where this came from. We should build coal powerhouses.
"Oh, no, Mr. President. That would be a big mistake," said Dr. Solara.
The president stared at the lumps of coal. He wasn't listening to Dr. Solara. "Coal sounds good to me. When can you get started?"
Right away, said Mr. Dig.
And soon, Throughout Zona, coal-powered houses were popping up like weeds. And the people were happy. At first, their houses stayed cool in the summer and warm in the winter. What's wrong? The president asked Mr. Digg. Why have you stopped building coal-powered houses?
Well, we're running out of coal, but I know where we can get more.
Well, do what you need to do. I don't care what. Just make it happen.
You're the boss, Mr. President, said Mr. Digg as he left with a sly smile on his face.
That night, the president had a bad dream. He dreamed of giant metal worms chewing through rocks and spitting out dirt. They made a horrible, scraping sound. When the president woke up the next morning, he looked out of the window and cried out, "What has become of my favorite mountaintop?"
I'm sorry, sir, said the second in command. Fossil Fuels Incorporated chopped it off digging for coal.
This is madness. This has got to stop.
Mr. President, the answer is the sun. I know how to keep us cool in the summer as well as keeping us warm in the winter. Solar cells. When sunlight shines on them, they make electricity, which we can use to run air conditioners. Pretty neat, huh?
A tall, gaunt man walked in. His hair was shiny black and stuck flat against his head. I am Mr. Slick from Fossil Fuels Incorporated.
Oh, go back with Mr. Digg. We have no use for your dirty coal.
Oh, coal. That's so old-fashioned. We have something much better now. He reached into his coat pocket and pulled out a bottle of thick, dark liquid. Oil! That's the answer. Solar power just won't do. How will you get solar power at night or in the shade? You should build oil-powered houses.
Oh, no, Mr. President. That would be a huge mistake, said Dr. Solara.
He wasn't listening to Dr. Solara. Oil sounds good to me. When can you get started?
We'll start right away, said Mr. Slick.
And soon, through all of Zona, oil-powered houses were popping up like seeds. And the people were happy at first. Their houses stayed cool in the summer and warm in the winter. What's wrong? The president asked Mr. Slick. Why have you stopped building oil-powered houses?
We're running out of oil, Mr. President. But I know where we can get more.
Well, do what you need to do. I don't care what. Just make it happen.
You're the boss, said Mr. Slick. He popped off the top of his bottle of oil, dipped his finger in, and combed his hair back as he left.
That night, the president had another bad dream. He dreamed that he had to go to the dentist. But when he got there, he found that the dentist was a giant metal mole with a great big drill. The next morning, the president woke up and told his second-in-command, "I've been working so hard, I deserve a break. Can you find my swimsuit and get a few towels? I'd like to go to the beach."
I'm so sorry, sir, but the beaches are all closed today. Fossil Fuels Incorporated was drilling offshore, and there was a terrible accident. The beaches are covered with oil and won't be clean for months.
That makes me so mad. What are we going to do now? It's you again, Dr. Solara. Don't you ever give up?
Never. I have the answer to getting electricity at night and when it's shady. Batteries. During the day, solar power will charge the batteries, and the batteries will keep things working during the night.
Mr. Dig? Or is it Mr. Slick? Whoever it is, I don't care. You've both left us in a terrible mess.
I'm Mr. Belcher. I'm Mr. Dig and Mr. Slick's partner at Fossil Fuels Incorporated. The answer is natural gas. You need to build gas-powered houses.
Now, wait a minute, said the president. I may be a little slow, but I'm beginning to learn. This time, I'll ask a few questions before you get started. Using natural gas won't mess up the beaches?
Nope.
You won't have to scrape off mountain tops?
No, Mr. President. Natural gas is different from coal and oil. It's a gas. It just goes right into the air.
Oh, no, Mr. President. That would be a humongous mistake, said Dr. Solara.
The president wasn't listening to Dr. Solara. Gas sounds good to me. When can you get started?
Right away, said Mr. Belcher.
And soon, throughout Zona, gas-powered houses were popping up like weeds. What is going on here? Asked the president. The gas-powered houses are working like crazy. My electric bill is going through the roof, and it seems like it's getting hotter and hotter every day. And what are those polar bears doing on my porch?
They're protesting global warming, sir, said the second in command.
Global warming? What's that?
Whenever you burn coal, oil, or gas, carbon dioxide is released into the air, which traps heat beneath the atmosphere and makes it hotter.
Global warming? This is most alarming. I think I'm beginning to see the light. Dr. Solara. Dr. Solara! Where is that woman when you need her?
Mr. President, we don't need coal, oil, or gas-powered houses. There's something much better.
And what might that be? Asked the president.
We need to build a solar house, said Dr. Solara.
A solar house?
A solar house.
Oh, I think I get it. We'll build a solar house. That's what we'll do. It's a bright new day for me and you. Let the sun shine in, come shining through. It's a bright new day for me and you. We don't need coal or oil or even natural gas. We'll show them to the exit and kick them in the la-la-la-la. A solar house, that's what we'll do. It's a bright new day for me and you. We'll build a solar house, that's what we'll do. It's a bright new day for me and you. Let the sun shine in, come shining through. It's a bright new day for me and you. We don't need coal or oil or even natural gas. We'll show them to the exit and kick them in the la-la-la-la. A solar house, that's what we'll do. It's a bright new day. Oh yes, a bright new day. A bright new day. Oh yeah, for me and for you. Thanks for the great idea, Dr. Solara, the president said. I don't know why I didn't listen to you before. We should build solar houses. But do you think the people will buy them?
Of course, said Dr. Solara. Haven't you heard that solar sells?